So have you ever wondered what exactly fueled America's greatest economic boom? Just think back to the 19th century for a second. We are talking about a time when the United States transformed, seemingly overnight, from a mostly agricultural nation into just an absolute industrial powerhouse. How did that happen so fast? I mean, what was the secret engine driving all those new inventions, the massive factories popping up, and these sprawling new cities?
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into the spirit of enterprise, and I am so excited to guide you through this. We're going to get a thrilling look at how the whole land of opportunity thing actually works in practice. We'll unpack the raw mechanics of this incredible growth, meet the brilliant minds who took some seriously massive leaps of faith, and see the real-world impact all of this had on everyday people.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with what is free enterprise, move into innovation, risk and reward, meet the titans of American industry, discuss workers and labor movements, and wrap everything up with the power of moral education.
All right, let's jump right into this with our foundational question. Section 1. What is free enterprise?
Okay, so to truly understand America's massive growth, you absolutely have to understand free enterprise. Essentially, it's the ability to start a business, set your own prices, and compete out there in the market completely without the government owning the factories or the farms. What this means on the ground is that private citizens, everyday people, were the ones running the economy. The system allowed literally anyone with a solid idea and the resources to back it up to just go out and start a company. It wasn't dictated from the top down by a king or some massive central government. No, it was built from the ground up by individuals who just wanted to create something entirely new.
And interestingly enough, this whole economic concept connects back to a much older framework. Psalm 128, verse 2 actually says, "You will eat the fruit of your labor, blessings and prosperity will be yours." The free enterprise system is basically built on that exact promise. The core idea is that if you put in the grueling work, if you labor and build and create, you actually get to enjoy the results of that hard work. It gave inventors and entrepreneurs the ultimate freedom to profit directly from their own brilliant ideas.
But how does the system actually drive so much growth? That brings us to Section 2, Innovation, Risk, and Reward.
Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. It's a bit of a cycle. First up, you have to take a risk. You're putting your time, your money, your sheer energy on the line. Next, you innovate. You have to either invent a brand new product or figure out a way to make an old product better, faster, or maybe cheaper. Then, you compete. You're out there going head-to-head with other really smart people trying to do the exact same thing. And finally, profit or fail. Actually, that's the real catch with free enterprise. It offers these unbelievable opportunities, but they come with very real, very heavy risks. The system demands that businesses work incredibly hard to succeed, and while some folks become spectacularly wealthy, others absolutely do fail.
Now you might be wondering, why is all that cutthroat competition actually a good thing for you and me? Well, when businesses are constantly fighting for our dollars, they're forced to step up their game. Competition encourages totally new inventions. It improves the old products we already use. It makes production so much faster. And, probably the biggest win for us, it keeps prices lower for consumers. Think about it. If a company's prices are way too high or their product is just too slow, a competitor is going to swoop right in and steal their customers. This sort of invisible race is the engine that gave consumers way more choices and better tech, pushing the entire economy forward. All right, so we've got the economic theory down. Let's ground this in some actual history. Section 3, Titans of American Industry. Let's meet a couple of the real people who took these massive risks. First up, Cornelius Vanderbilt in the railroad industry. This guy took enormous risks connecting the country's transportation networks. The impact? Well, he made huge profits, sure, but he also vastly expanded an industry that was absolutely critical for moving goods across a rapidly growing nation. Then you have someone like Andrew Carnegie in steel. He built vast wealth, yes, but in doing so he provided countless jobs and drove the industrialization that literally pushed America's cities into the sky. Both of these men perfectly embody that high-risk, high-reward nature of free enterprise. But an honest look at history requires us to step back and view the whole picture. So let's transition to Section 4, Workers and Labor Movements.
This perfectly illustrates a fundamental truth we have to acknowledge. This system didn't automatically guarantee fairness for everyone. On one side, you've got the owners. Naturally, their primary focus was on maximizing their profits and expanding their businesses. They were driven by that fierce competition we just talked about. But then, on the flip side, you have the workers. Very often, it was the workers who really bore the brunt of the economic ups and downs. If owners put profits entirely above everything else,
workers frequently found themselves facing pretty harsh realities, like unsafe working conditions and really low pay.
Because of these realities, the system desperately needed a counterweight. Over time, labor movements and new laws began to emerge. Workers realized they had to organize to push back. And this wasn't about destroying the free enterprise system. It was just about balancing the scales of power. It became necessary to balance the fundamental rights and the safety of the workers with the freedom of those business owners to operate and grow. It was, essentially, a major push for a fairer version of the opportunity that America had promised. And that brings us to a really fascinating turning point in today's explainer. We've talked economics, we've talked history. Now let's tie it all together for a deeply personal application. Section 5, the power of moral education.
So, the crucial point is, how do all these facts lock together? Let's do a really quick review. Free enterprise equals private business freedom without government control. Guys like Carnegie and Steele and Vanderbilt and railroads showed us that big risks can yield huge rewards. We know competition lowers prices, but we also learned that risk includes the very real possibility of failure, and that labor movements had to step up to fight unsafe working conditions. Okay, so now you have the knowledge of how this system works. You have the education.
But as the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners series points out, education without morality will hurt. This is such a powerful core philosophy. Think about it for a second. What is the point of being incredibly smart, highly educated, and knowing literally everything about economics if you just keep making bad choices that cause harm to yourself or to the people around you? Whether you are the business owner or the worker, knowledge without a moral compass can easily lead to exploitation and pain.
The good news is there's a better path. Romans chapter 8, verses 6 through 7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When you take your hard-earned education and you combine it with a spiritual, moral mindset, it changes the game. It brings peace instead of harm. It ensures that when you step out into the free enterprise system, you're doing it with integrity, with fairness, and with a genuine desire to bless others through the fruit of your labor, rather than just chasing ruthless profit.
Which leaves us with one final vital question to ponder today. You have the education now. You understand the immense power of the free enterprise system and the history behind it. But how will you choose to use it? Are you going to use your knowledge just to benefit yourself, or will you let a moral, spiritual compass guide your choices so your success actually brings peace to the world around you? The land of opportunity is out there waiting for your answer. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.